The Department of Defense is the #1 employer for transgender people in the United States. Pete Hegseth's newest testosterone testing is cloaked in improving performance for the military, but what if there's an ulterior motive? Let's get into it. So, since the Trump administration retook office, his administration has launched multi-front attacks on transgender people in the United States. And regardless of anybody's personal opinions about the military, the reality is that the military is, in fact, the #1 employer for transgender people in the United States. Now, due to reactionary policies, the true number of transgender service members in the military is unknown, but there is some data I was able to find to give us a peek at the numbers. So, Pentagon data from 2016 estimated approximately 14,700 transgender troops across active duty and the reserves, with about 8,980 on active duty, broken down demographically to 1,850 trans men and 7,129 trans women. A 2020 study of 195 active duty transgender service members found that the average age of trans military members is 29 years old, with 48.7% identifying as trans men and 44.6% as trans women. The troops surveyed served an average of 8 years, with the majority having been deployed. And Pete Hegseth has been clear that he wants transgender service members out of the military, whether voluntarily or involuntarily.
In accordance with policy now reinstated, service members who have a current diagnosis or history of or exhibit symptoms consistent with gender dysphoria may elect to separate voluntarily. There's a timeline here, and then eventually involuntarily if necessary.
Now, on July 15th, Pete Hegseth announced a new testosterone screening mandate. The new testosterone screening mandate, which applies to all service members aged 30 and older, including women, could be used as a way to find, identify, and categorize transgender service members. A transgender woman that is currently going through gender affirming care under this new mandate could easily register testosterone levels that fall outside the normal range, which could flag her for further scrutiny, potential medical review, and unwanted exposure. For transgender men on testosterone therapy, their levels would appear within the quote unquote normal male range, which could subject them to unwanted medical meddling. Now, this administration has been aggressively pursuing the forced removal of transgender service members, and these efforts have been met with mixed results. All right. In January 2025, Trump issued executive order prioritizing military excellence and readiness, which says that transgender identity is incompatible with military service. It directs the Department of Defense to prohibit transgender, non-binary, and gender nonconforming people from serving in the U.S. military. And that's exactly what Pete Hegseth did. 1 month later, Pete Hegseth issued a memo that banned all gender affirming medical procedures for service members. All right. And then 3 weeks after that, the same Department of Defense issued a new policy saying that transgender and non-binary individuals are no longer eligible to join the military, and directed all transgender people currently serving be separated from service. Okay. And again, voluntarily for now, involuntarily in the future. In June 2026, the DC Circuit Court ruled 2-1 that this ban violates constitutional equal protection clause for current service members. However, the Supreme Court allowed the ban to take effect while litigation proceeds. On July 16th, 1 day after the new testosterone screening mandate, the Trump administration asked the Supreme Court to uphold the ban on transgender service members. And we aren't just seeing attacks on transgender service members, y'all. Since Trump retook office, attacks on transgender Americans have intensified dramatically. Okay. In 2026 alone, 805 anti-trans bills have been introduced across 43 states, with 65 already passed. 137 national bills are under consideration in Congress. 27 states have now banned gender affirming care for minors, and 24 imposed penalties on providers. The administration has also proposed rules to bar gender affirming care providers from Medicare and Medicaid coverage, and allow discrimination against people with gender dysphoria under Section 504. And yes, I understand the hypocrisy here, right? Pete Hegseth is supporting hormone therapy for troops while simultaneously citing hormone use as justification for banning transgender service members. But when looking past this, I can't help but wonder if this new screening mandate is setting the stage for the day when transgender troop separation from the military goes from voluntarily to involuntarily, if the Supreme Court upholds the ban, of course. This is Monique with the Black Belt Daily, signing out.